Thank you for spending time with us today. Before we get started with today's topic, go ahead and sound off in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, what branch of service, and what years you served.
Awesome. Yes, definitely welcome everybody. And I am so happy and so proud to be doing this with my brother over there. Me and Aaron, we do suffer from the topic that we're talking about actually today, both. But the way, and to be honest with you guys, our relationship has done a up and down, but I couldn't be more proud to be with Aaron because we worked through it. And we both know where each other come from and how this works. And I like I said, beyond proud to be doing this with Aaron. Matter of fact, I think we actually met doing a class way back. So I think that was cool.
I sure did, man. This is awesome. Great pleasure to be here with you today, JT. And I see we have Paige from Louisiana here joining us today. Welcome, Paige.
Louisiana, awesome.
Right. Let's see who else is here today. Gladstone, Missouri. Welcome, Philip. That's where I was born and raised.
That is awesome.
I grew up north of the river. Good old worlds of fun right there.
You're gonna have to tell me some of those stories. Off air, but
lots of stories from there. We got Mississippi, San Diego, Dennis in the Air Force.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, Marine Corps started coming in.
Here we go. I was Navy. Everybody needed a ride, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, neighbor? I love it. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started in a few minutes. We have a great topic today for everybody. Hey, Pop. Welcome, Sacramento, California. All right. We got Terry, Air Force, 86 to 92. All right. Welcome, Terry.
Ooh. South Carolina, 24 years. Awesome. Thank you.
Willie, welcome home, brother. Robert from Pensacola is my old stomping grounds when I was in the Navy.
I loved Pensacola. Oh, man. But you're right. I think I was the only Army guy there, probably for the last 2 months. Yeah.
Man, when you were in Pensacola, I was very jealous. And now Phillips. All right, so Phillips posting a rivalry now. Phillips said he went to Oak Park High School. I went to Winnetonka. That is a huge rivalry between our schools.
Uh-oh.
I have a feeling that I may have known Philip.
That is awesome.
All right, we got Army, Marine Corps. Uh-oh, I see Marine Corps taking over the chat here, JT.
Here we go. Here we go.
Welcome, Al. All right. Oh, there's JT's branch right there, the Army with Ruben.
Army.
Oh, man. Terry saying that this is the real deal. He got from 40% to 100 P&T. Congratulations, Terry. That is life-changing.
That is awesome.
All right.
That's actually a huge jump. 40 to 100. Wow, that's a big jump.
That is a huge jump. I was going to say it looked like the Navy was taking over the chat there for a second, and then I just see Army blowing up. Foreman.
A couple from Navy real quick there. Yikes.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining us today, Andy. 70 to 72. Rob, Air Force, 82 to 86. Welcome. Gary, Army, 89 to 97. All right. Y'all are calling in from all over today. I see somebody in your neck of the woods right now, JT.
Uh-oh. There we go. I don't know where that's at. I happen to be in Hot Springs, Arkansas right now.
All right. And with that being said, I got 5 minutes after the hour. So I am senior veteran coach Aaron Daugherty. I'm a Navy veteran. I served from 2006 to 2009. I am 100% P&T right now through the VA. I'm joined today here by another amazing senior veteran coach. As he mentioned earlier, I met John a long time ago when we first started here doing classes, and I am honored to be here with him today. So tell us about yourself, JT.
Senior veteran coach John Trimble. I spent 20 years in the mental health field. And as I was coming through the program, I just like you guys, I was coming through the program and was approached about being a coach. Best move I ever made. Closed down the practice after a while. And I'm also 100% P&T, part of the old paratrooper brigades. I was with the 1st 75th Ranger Battalion and Charlie Airborne up in Alaska, which brings up a funny story because 1 month I'm jumping into Panama, the next month I'm jumping above the Arctic Circle. So I got to have a lot of fun while I was in. But I'm paying for it now because of the aches and pains, but everybody knows what that means. So.
That's awesome, JT. You know, and where you came in here with a different path because you were a client previously. I did not. I came here to VACI because I used to be a service officer. So I've seen where veterans struggled and decided that this was an amazing place to be able to come in, continue to help out our fellow brothers and sisters. So, you know, I love being here and helping other veterans. So, you know, this is a great place to be. If you have questions, we'll get to those today on this topic that we're covering in terms of the different types of PTSD. And so, you know, VACI does have an elite program. You know, here at VACI, we preach strategy, education, and medical evidence. Those are the 3 things that help you win your claim faster and with the rating that you deserve by law. So, you know, here at VACI, there are different programs. Some veterans, the elite program, there is one-on-one coaching that's involved with that. You get strategy sessions, CNP preparations, claim submission walkthroughs, amazing classes that are offered Monday through Friday and Saturday classes. So I definitely encourage anybody that's on the fence about signing up to go ahead and, you know, there's the link in the chat for VA Claims Insider, the elite membership. It's completely free to sign up. And so if you need help with your claim, you're stuck, frustrated, this is the place to be.
No, I totally agree, Aaron. And you know what I like is most of the coaches come from a different background. So when we share back and forth, it's like you're getting not just one coach, you're getting the whole organization and how we've learned off of things. There's stuff that Aaron talks about as he was a service officer. I was like going, wow, I had no idea that it was like that. And just some of the ins and outs of helping veterans with their claims. It's awesome. It truly is. And to be a part of this community is an honor. And each of you are part of that community. And it's not, I've said this before in a podcast that I do for the company. It's not a community that was given to you. You weren't born into it or anything like that. You earned this community by being a veteran. And we need to keep putting our arms around each other. And we need to keep getting to a point where we help each other this way or to get through all of this, because it is a struggle sometimes. I know I struggled at first and got an excellent coach and learned a lot that way. And then again, I run into awesome veterans like Aaron and even learn more each and every day. And I couldn't be more blessed to be part of this organization and helping veterans on a daily basis. I couldn't think of anything better.
Yeah, JT, I love that. And like you said, you mentioned that it's not just, you know, with the elite program, you do get assigned to a coach, but it's not just one coach that you get, right? You have access to the whole team through these live classes where we come in and share our experience and our knowledge to help our veterans get that information that they need to pursue their disability claims at the highest possible levels. You know, one thing I'll say too is if you're really on the fence about signing up, there is a 30-minute discovery call. If you want to learn more, you can schedule that free 30-minute discovery call. Talk to one of our team members by going to vacifree30.com. And if you need help, you can reach out to the organization at vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to partner with you all on your claims journey.
Most definitely.
And so today, let's get to this amazing topic. And again, I love that I've got Dr. John here to be able to talk on these topics with y'all. PTSD is what we're talking about. There are multiple kinds. I know that we have covered combat PTSD in the past. Today, we will cover non-combat PTSD, MSTs, disaster and terrorism aspects of it. So, buckle in. This is a challenging subject for those that experience these types of things. As JT mentioned, both of us experience these symptoms, and so all too familiar with PTSD, unfortunately. But again, great topic to cover for a lot of veterans because not all of us made it to combat.
That's very true, especially when you're talking about non-combat. Covers so many different areas, and it could be just outside of combat, or it could be something that happened during training that creates a situation to where you're dealing with something that's banging around in your head on a daily basis. That's basically how I became a psychologist, is because I'm trying to figure out what that is that's banging around in my head, why I had so many different symptoms. And the VA recognizes the 31 symptoms. And each one of those symptoms do play a heavy part in a veteran's life, especially going from being a military, being in the military and then going to civilian life. We're going to run into a few things that are a little bit different. It moves at a different speed in civilian life. And I didn't know that till I started really researching some of that for myself and some of my brothers. I was trying to figure a few things out. And so that's how I actually ended up with the PhD in psychology. And they finally kicked me out of school. Like I said, was in the field for 20 years. But it's interesting how each one of these symptoms can actually create something that you go through on a normal daily basis. There's a number of them. For instance, my daughters used to tease me all the time when I'm driving home, and all of a sudden, for some reason, I took a different route. And I'd always play it off like I'm doing something covert or something like that. Like, I don't want somebody following us home, so I took a different route there, sweetheart. No, it wasn't that. I actually blanked on it and forgot that I turned left at that particular road. That's a symptom. It can be a heavy symptom for PTSD. There's a number of different things. And a lot of people get caught up also with PTSD, get caught up with wording of certain symptoms. There's one in particular, and I think that we need to talk about it, and it's not an easy subject to talk about, that's suicidal ideation. Suicidal ideation, there's actually two types of those. And when people get caught up, like, well, I'm not telling anybody that, I thought about that. There's two types. One is active, and that's where you actually have a plan and you maybe have carried out some of that plan. Now, if you're part of that situation, you really do need to make sure that you have handy the hotline and reaching out to buddies and stuff like that. The second one is more of one that just is kind of passing. I wonder how the world would be without me. I wonder if my family would be doing better off without me. That's suicidal ideation. Okay. And that's more of a passive one, to where I don't know too many people that don't suffer from that or have heard that one. Hallucination is another one. People get caught up with that one because they think it's pink elephants landing on the front yard. No, that's not what hallucination. Well, that's a hallucination, but that's an extreme hallucination. If you're ever walking through your house, because we're all warriors, you're walking through your house late at night, you got all the lights off, and you're actually getting ready to check the locks for the 10th time, which happens to be another symptom. But as you're doing that, you see something out of the corner of your eye, and as a warrior, you're focused in on it. As you concentrate on it, it looked like somebody's standing there, but it's actually nothing but the wind blowing on a curtain from the AC unit. That's still a hallucination. It's not a dangerous one. It's just something that we go through because we've been trained to actually go through and look at things like that as, being aware of and keeping your head on a swivel type thing. So those are the two that I really think that everybody gets hung up on. So if you're actually experiencing it, it's okay to talk about it. That's what the veteran community is all about. We're supposed to be talking about it so we don't end up with the first one, because there's something dear to my heart, especially with PTSD, is the 22 veterans that decide to call it quits daily. We, as a community, need to start helping with this, and we need to have this. We don't need politicians that are actually going to go out there and try to pass some laws or stuff, because we know that doesn't work. It's basically put your arm around that veteran and tell them that they're not alone. We're going to get you through this. That's what's going to help. And a lot of these symptoms can come from the non-combat area. Like I said, Aaron, I know that you have a number of lists of ones that would be considered non-combat, hurt and training, an actual assault that happened, where you're, for some reason, something happens while you're walking back to the barracks or something like that. That would actually be part of the non-combat ones.
Yep. There's that personal assault aspect of it.
Right.
When it comes to this too, I've worked with a lot of veterans who responded to disasters when they were in the military, right? So they were activated on orders to respond to disasters. And when they were there, we see things that change us.
Yes.
And, John, this is where with it, when it comes to PTSD, me personally, just because I experience, non-combat PTSD, I do realize, right, that most of my symptoms I've normalized over the years. I mean, I've been out of service since 2009. So for 13 years, I've acted like this. And, then my wife, who knew me in high school, goes, "You didn't act like this before." And I'm like, that Aaron's no longer here. We get Aaron, and my son even will go, "Dad, you get really aggressive." And I do. These are things that I've normalized over the years, and that most of us as veterans normalize, right? A lot of this is a daily struggle for us. And so you mentioned that transition coming from service to civilian life. That's a challenge for a lot of us, getting back into a workforce where people don't have that, mission ready mindset where we have to succeed. There is no failure, right? Failure is not an option. And so it gets difficult then. So there's those difficulties at work, at home, with family, friends, or lack thereof.
Right.
PTSD is that nasty beast. And so I've seen some comments that have come through about certain ratings and things. I will tell you flat out that if you need help, this is the time to stop what you're doing. Use that link for VA Claims Insider. Sign up for the elite program. Get a coach. Get the help you deserve. I've done this for long enough that I've seen too many veterans underrated for mental health, JT. And that's one thing that I really love about the program that we offer here, is helping veterans recognize these symptoms, right? So I would talk to veterans all the time that would go, "Yeah, I deal with some stuff, but it's normal to me." And you start identifying these symptoms, and it's like, that's normal to me, but it's not normal in terms of mental health, right? Like, these are the things that they're looking for in terms of our rating. And so, as you mentioned, we have to be honest about these things. That's the most important aspect of it, in my opinion. No matter what it is that we go through, if we can't tell that doctor that, we'll be underrated every day. So, go ahead, get signed up. You know, the elite membership, there's the link in the chat. And if you need to, if you're not ready, sign up for that free 30-minute discovery call. Talk to one of the business development reps, see what it is that we can do to potentially, you know, coach you through this process and get you the benefits that you deserve. You know, and JT, I don't know if many vets know this, but what I love about these mental health claims like PTSD like this is that the ratings can go anywhere from 0 to 100%.
Exactly. And it's just the way you talk about how you go through it on a normal basis, or a daily basis. It's one of those things where I look at those, and when I do see a brand new veteran that's come to us and say they're rated at 30% or something like that, I personally and professional, if you're rated for PTSD and it is not, and usually I say 70 to 100 or even 50 is somewhat, I'm a little sketchy on that, because PTSD does have a different feel to it, because you do have to have a stressor event. And because of that stressor event, that is the thing that keeps coming back and banging around in your head. Whatever it is, whether it's combat, non-combat, or MST, the military sexual trauma, there's an event or set of events that have created that chemical imbalance upstairs. And that makes it just slightly different than everything else in the mental health field. And when we were talking about getting with a coach, you're going to end up with a coach that is actually going to understand that, and actually has been trained in recognizing, hey, wait, this is starting to sound a little bit like non-combat, or that sounds a lot like MST claim, because of what you've gone through. Now, because of what you've gone through, you deserve this. This isn't something, it's sort of like what I said about being part of this community. That's not something that was given to me. I earned that. Well, because of this, you've earned that. And you need to go ahead and start talking to people. So it does, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. I call it slaying your dragon. If you're going through this and you're having to bring out all the stuff that you don't want to talk about, but you have to, because that's the first step in the recovery part. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There's daily things that happen to me and Aaron, to where we still go through our symptoms, but yet we've learned different ways to not only cope with it, but to kind of use it to our benefit. There's a couple things that I do that makes it, and there's others that look at it and go like, that's not how you're supposed to do that. But it doesn't matter if it's working for me and I'm not getting myself into a situation to where I can't handle it. Fine. I'm aggressive. Yes. I'm just like what Aaron said, I'm aggressive. Sometimes that ranger does come out. But I do know that sometimes I have to pull it back, because I'm not on any field somewhere, or I didn't just come out of the bird and check my chute and stuff like that. That's a long time ago. I don't have to be like that, but I still want to keep a little bit of that, because we're warriors, and you need to keep a little bit of that just to keep an edge. So it's okay as long as you keep a little bit of it and know, okay, no, I'm going overboard here. So.
Yeah, JT, you made an amazing point too. Towards the beginning of that, you mentioned that you have to have a stressor, right? The VA has to be able to verify the in-service stressor to be able to grant you service connection for PTSD, which kind of leads me into where most veterans don't report military sexual traumas at all, ever, right? So for things like that, this is where I'll tell you, even on the form that you fill out, the stressor statement for PTSD for sexual assault, there are markers that the VA looks for to be able to verify that even though you had not reported these events in service, that they can verify that you were still potentially exposed to those events as a result of these markers. And so most veterans don't report PTSD in service. I worked for the Vietnam Veterans of America organization, JT. Most of the vets that I helped were stepping foot in the VA facility for the first time in 50 years, had
Right.
never gone to a mental health doctor. And, you know, and you made a great point too about how mental health like this, the PTSD, it is our brain's response to these traumatic events. You know, and so I want to remind all of our veterans out there that none of us are weak if we deal with mental health. It is actually, I feel like we're stronger dealing with mental health than we are if we weren't. And I say that because you've made great points in terms of how we are impacted by mental health, right? And how we then have to make those adjustments, find those tools to be able to get through and navigate these stressful situations that we're now encountered with on a daily basis. Some days are better than others, but
right. And you brought up an excellent point. You are not weak by doing this. You're actually stronger by doing this because you are building up ways to get past that. Because no matter what, you do have a life to live, and that life does come after your service. And you do need to be in a situation where you can actually do that and do that in a positive sense. And the MST part of PTSD is one of those things that really gets me because you're, like you said, you have markers. If say you were in and right after some event happened, and first, before I go any further, God bless you. I'm sorry. It's just one of those ones where you just, that one really gets to me. So when I'm like going, okay, no, we're going to fight for this. We're going to win this. We're going to get you through this, because that one does seem to linger maybe a little bit more and harder, and creates different situations in one's life afterwards. So I know with the clients that I've had and gotten through those, they do kind of have one of those special feelings for me to where I'm like, oh, no, this isn't going to happen. And you're not going to have to keep doing this. We're going to get you through this. But with those markers, if you see, say your performance level went down in your performance reports, PT scores, all kinds of different things get affected by this. And it's because of that chemical imbalance that happens upstairs, and that creates different situations. So those markers are very important because, let's just face it, not a lot of sexual trauma cases get reported by the victim, but also there's not going to be anything from the perpetrator either. And that's the sad part, is the VA still looks at it as a situation that you have to prove. Well, you can prove it in many different ways. The thing is to keep fighting, keep getting through that, keep telling yourself you didn't do anything wrong. Okay, there's nothing that you did. This is something that happened to you, and one needs to be recognized, but mainly so you can keep moving those steps so you can actually get through the rest of your life in a more positive mindset. So if you're ever with that type of situation, and I've seen it on both sides. I've seen where with males and females, and it's just one of those things where I don't know. I served in units that were very honorable, and we never had any kind of situations like that because we were always so busy. I just don't get it. But I do know that when I hear a veteran spill this out, you've got a ton of coaches here that will go to the wall to get this done for you, and that really warms my heart. I love that part about us, to where we can go like, nope, not today. No, we're going to go ahead and get this taken care of. And because once they've gotten it taken care of, they can move on to other things, and maybe even develop something that's a coping mechanism that will actually help them on a daily basis and learn a new skill. Maybe there's something out there that you've always wanted to do, play the guitar, build birdhouses, whatever it is, that can be used as a coping skill in these type of situations that will actually help, because you can automatically go to it and it redirects that negative thought pattern real fast. So
it's a great point. You know, and gosh, when it comes to these types of things, you know, I just want to remind everybody, none of us like talking about PTSD.
Right.
None of us like opening up about our stressors or, you know, for me, I hate my mental health appointments because that's a 30-minute to an hour-long appointment where I admit that I am deficient as a husband, a father, a family member, friend, coworker. You know, so I can be the first to admit that when it comes to opening up about those things, I've struggled. It's taken me many years to get to the point where I've been able to truly recognize in that day-to-day activity where I've struggled to be able to articulate it to my provider. So for most of us that don't know how to talk about these things, this is a safe place for you here at VA Claims Insider. You know, you can talk to your coach about these types of things. You do not have to go into details with your coach about these events. And so a lot of veterans, you know, when I've gotten these types of claims, I remind people first and foremost, you don't need to break it down to me, right? Like, you will have to complete a form that we can review and make sure it's all squared away. But I don't need you to tell me everything that happened. You'll need to tell the mental health provider to make sure that you get that out, you know. But for me, man, you know, when it comes to these types of things, it's very difficult, JT, to open up and be honest about that. But that's what the VA looks for in terms of our rating.
Right.
You talked about 30% and 50% ratings for mental health. And, you know, I remember when I first got out and got my 50% rating, I looked at my letter and went, yay. But then I was like, hold on, 50% for these symptoms. And then for 70, I need these. I remember looking at that letter going, I have every one of you. But those were also the symptoms that I was not willing to talk to my doctor about at the time. But things that, you know, a decade later, I truly realize have impacted every aspect. And so, you know, this is where I would encourage any veteran that thinks that they're dealing with potential PTSD, whether it's combat, non-combat PTSD or military sexual trauma, to reach out, you know, link with a coach, schedule a one-on-one strategy call so that you can figure out how to be able to maximize those benefits. You know, mental health is such a serious thing that we deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, even if it's not PTSD, it is definitely something to go get treated for. You know, I need as many tools as I can in my toolbox to navigate the day-to-day. You know, there's certain things that get my blood boiling like through the roof. And there's some things where I feel like I have like no emotional response to. And with mental health, that's something that most of us have to understand, right? There are ups and downs when it comes to that. So if you're struggling, reach out to a coach, see what they can do to assist you. You're not alone in this, I promise.
Yeah, that's awesomely said. I always kind of revert back to being on a roller coaster. Now, all of us have this one thing. If you're on a roller coaster, and I'm sure that everybody has that one uncle that is just, you know, not right. Well, that's the guy driving the roller coaster. Sometimes it's out of control. Sometimes it's in control. But the thing is as long as you know, hey, there's the brake. I know how to slow this down. You're going to get through this. You're going to get to a point where you're going to be able to get to, like I said, that light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to be able to recognize different things that come on. I too hate going to the psychologist and talking. And matter of fact, they hate me for obvious reasons. When I walk in there, they're like, oh no, here comes Doc. That's not going to be good. Today's going to be a rough day. Because it's almost like when I was in high school, I did okay. I did enough just to play sports and hang out with cheerleaders. That's basically what my whole life was about. But when I went to college, I was paid for that. So I was meticulous about everything that I did. And I kind of relate that kind of to this type of situation too. I'm meticulous about everything that we have to do to make sure the VA understands what you go through on a daily basis. There's a number of things that we look at where, yeah, I made the joke about the hallucinations earlier, but you're walking through the house for the third time checking your locks. Yeah, not a lot of people do that. But there's a reason for it, because you're a warrior and you know that you're supposed to do that. All right. So that's one of those things that doesn't translate from military to civilian. We don't look at it like that. You know, if you walk around your car 3 times just because you're checking everything out, dude, that's what we had to do to survive. I know I've had family members that look at me like, why do you do that? Because I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to get through this, and it's just something that I do. Definitely, if you're suffering from any of this, make sure you do sign up and get with a coach that's going to educate you just a little bit more on those 31 symptoms, because the 31 symptoms are something that you're going to look at. You're not even going to realize that, you know, 15 of these are actually symptoms. You're like, I do that daily. I do that multiple times daily. It's just the way it goes. We owe it to ourselves. But there's something else that we owe, and I always want to point this out. As a veteran, you're going to go through not only the system or that thing to where you're talking about, that sooner or later you're going to run into a veteran that doesn't know this. It doesn't know how mental health affects them on a daily basis. And the way I look at it, in an honorable sense, you need to step up and address yours, because that veteran is coming some sooner or later, and it might be multiple veterans, and you're the one that's going to be the one standing between them and a very dark day. Like I said, I've had dark days, and there's been situations where Aaron, the rest of the SVCs, and our president got me through it. Just because I have diplomas on the wall, just because I know what this stuff is, doesn't mean I don't suffer from it. Doesn't mean that I don't have a situation where I need that extra help. And God bless that they're there to get me through that. So each one of you, if you're a member of this community, deserve this. You've earned it. And we need to get each other through this. But remember what I said, you are going to run into a veteran that's going to need your help. And that's the best way to help them, is that you already addressed it, slayed your dragon, so you can actually help them.
It's a great point, JT. You know, I have relied on the other senior veteran coaches many times to help me navigate some of these issues that I've dealt with. You have been instrumental in that. And that's where I would flat out say, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody for help in this type of a situation. You know, where day-to-day life can be very challenging. You see JT and I, we both smile still, right? So there are better times than others, but, you know, we can also then look like, you know, it's the end of the world. I know I don't have much hair, but, you know, if it was longer, it'd be all frizzed out and crazy. And, you know, so this is where I'll tell you, reach out to somebody. You know, a lot of times with PTSD, you'll relive the event. You might avoid certain things. You know, there's those feelings of being on edge, the irritability, difficulty sleeping, you know. Those are things that, you know, being in the military, I thought were normal at first.
Right.
And then, like I said, now that I've recognized these 31 symptoms and understood them a little bit more, I start going down the list and I'm like, that one too. But it's, you know, you mentioned it, JT, our families kind of wonder sometimes, what's this person dealing with? You know, and
Right.
now that I'm 38 years old and have been helping veterans file claims for a long time, I now realize that my grandfather, who was a World War II vet, was dealing with PTSD all of my life growing up. And these were things that I never understood until I was older. And so, you know, and I was out of the military for years before I started putting it together and going, he's got PTSD. And so, that was what he was out of the service for 70 years before I realized that that's what it was. He didn't even accept it or understand it. And so for some of us, these day-to-day interactions that we deal with just become the norm. And we do need to go in, get evaluated, find out what's going on so that we can get these things taken care of and addressed, especially in terms of how the way VA benefits work for this. This is where I've seen veterans go from 0 to 100. I've seen some vets that get that 30% rating. Usually it's because we don't open up. And that's one of the biggest challenges with mental health, in my opinion, is being able to be honest in all these areas in life where we have struggled. And I say that because before I joined the military, I was going to college. I was doing pretty well. Then I went to the military. I got out. I struggled at school. I struggled with several jobs, just trying to fit in again. And so, we're not alone in this. And I want to reiterate that over and over again, that many of you that are on this call right now, some of the things that JT and I have said may really hit home. And if it does, use that link, click on vaclaimsinsider.com, get signed up for the elite program. This is your opportunity to change the way that you have seen these things for years now, more than likely, and learn that these are rateable conditions through the VA. One thing that I've learned over the years, JT, is that so many of us veterans don't think that we qualify for this because this is what we signed up for, but that's not true.
Right.
Uncle Sam sent us where he wanted, when he wanted, and we just got to go there, right? And do our jobs. And as part of those jobs, we have been exposed to some of these things that the VA will compensate us for. So reach out to a coach, get squared away. This is definitely the one thing that I want everybody to take away from this, is that, a lot of these things that we deal with daily are rateable, is rateable in terms of the symptoms with mental health. So go in and get treated.
Right. And you bring up another good point. Our families do see this. Matter of fact, if you're, you think everything's just hunky dory, ask. I'm sure somebody's going to tell you, I don't know, that Dad, you're a little aggressive, or honey, you're, that kind of makes me wonder about what you do. So we also owe it to our families too. And it's actually one of those things too. I suggest that you go through it, you personally, okay? And then include the family. So that way they can actually understand too. It's sort of like what I always came from. I played on sports teams. I coached sports teams. When I was in the military, I was on different types of teams. I believe heavily in the team aspect. And there is nothing stronger than a family team aspect. And to get to that point, they need to know what you're going through. Make it a little bit more easy for them to not only understand, but to go like, well, maybe we should try this. Or, now I know why you want to know where all the exits are when you get to the restaurant, or, any of that type of stuff. It's good that they know that. Because I've seen that with veterans too, and their wives, and I've seen wives actually help out with that. Oh, well, honey, okay, there's the exits right there, so let's go ahead and just enjoy the meal. Okay, excellent. And now I personally am not married, so I'm still looking for that special one to show me those things. But the point of it is, it's awesome to see that, or a son grab a father's hand and say, it's okay. We're going to get through this. I tell you what, let's go ahead and check the car together. That is what's going to get us all through this. And that is the type of thing that makes me just go like, this is so cool. And that's why this community is so important, because we have to protect each other. But this community needs more of that. And to be honest with you, other communities need that too. And they need to be taught that. And what better to teach is somebody that had skin in the game, that actually did sign that dotted line and did have those situations to where they could have been in harm's way real quick. I'm sorry that almost started coming out like I was on a soapbox there, but I think all veterans understand that. And it doesn't matter what branch you served in. It's still like that. We're all warriors. We're all been put in situations to where, yes, you were in danger for a while. And yes, that's going to keep coming back every once in a while. But when you have that team unit working together as a team because they understand what you're going through and you understand what they see, really makes it a situation to where it really can make everything stronger. You have a stronger foundation and you're going to get through this.
It's a great statement there, JT. You know, and you said something just now, but we'll open it up to some questions and answers here in a second. You know, going out to restaurants is difficult for me, right? So where you mentioned that we have family members that step in and do things. My wife, when we go to restaurants on those rare occasions, when we go to get sat, she has gone, I'm sorry, I can't sit there. My husband needs to, because my wife knows that I need to. I've seen it in the chat, put your head on the swivel, right? So I put my Periscope up, I'm looking around. I struggle, and I've taken my son to a restaurant before, and you know he doesn't get it yet, but he went to sit down with his back against the booth, and I was like, "Nah, little man, if you're gonna sit there, we're gonna leave. You can sit over here for me to be able to eat here." It's those little things that we do to be able to navigate life, right? And so, as veterans, we push through these things, and so being able to recognize those things and move forward with them, get the help that we need, is truly valuable. And with that statement, we'll open it up to some questions and answers here. Let's see what we can find here in the chat.
Oh yeah, definitely. And don't hesitate. If you have a question, fling it, because now's the time to start the process of learning.
So, you know, and one of the first things that I want to touch on here, it's not necessarily a question, but I see Dean posted that he's not suicidal or homicidal at all. He just wants to disappear. And that's him all day. Dean, I'm going to tell you personally, I have several times in the last couple of years told my wife that I'm ready to just kind of pick up, disappear, you know, to some third world country, go somewhere small to not have to deal with life, right? And I think that's where we as veterans have to recognize that our symptoms are coming out, that there's clearly something going on. And so, you know, Dean, if you're already compensated for mental health and potentially underrated, sign up, man. Get with a coach. Make sure that you're getting the benefits that you deserve for that condition. You know, it is a daily struggle for me. From the moment I get out of bed until the moment that, you know, I finally fall asleep. It's a daily struggle. My wife has joked before with VA social workers, you know, about how easily irritable that I can be. And this guy asked her one day, well, what frustrates your husband? And my wife went, the sky can be a different shade of blue than what he wants it to be. And it will have ruined his day. It doesn't take much. And so, you know, again, if you're not being compensated appropriately, definitely reach out so that a coach can assist you with your process here. Let's see. I see Antone Smith here. So he went over in 2003, spent a year in Ramadi, Iraq, saw combat. First lieutenant, 9 years, alcoholic. And so I'll be honest, when it comes to this, you were denied PTSD. I've seen veterans that are not willing to go in and open up about the things that we've seen and experienced and how they impact us. That suck it up, carry on, suffer in silence mentality can really get us at these exams. You know, I've seen multiple combat tour vets from Vietnam that had 30% because they were only willing to say that they had some anxiety and some depression, but not willing to go down the list of the 31 symptoms. And so, Antone, if you've been denied, I would tell you, you know, get with a coach. And you know, this is where, you know, you say that people who didn't leave the wire had 70% for PTSD, right? So some veterans go in and are more honest and open about their symptoms and what they experienced, and it's easier for them to then make that connection to verify that stressor. So What I would recommend is definitely link in with a coach. Sign up. That way somebody can review that decision letter with you and help you determine the best course of action to get that claim reopened.
Most definitely.
We only lose if we give up, man. If we keep fighting, that's when we win. So don't give up. I got denied 6 times for my lower back before the VA finally approved a claim. So it's all about staying in the fight.
Exactly. Stay in the fight. Keep attacking. I'm sorry. I'm seeing some things about my internet seems to be slowing and buffering. I am on the road, so it's one of those things where it could be who knows, but it could be just the hotel internet. So I apologize for that, and hopefully that's not happening very much there. I saw a question from Dean. Dean, I'm going to be real honest with you real quick here, okay? You said that that it's not suicidal or homicidal, what you're experiencing, but you just want to disappear. You really need to think about that statement. If you're just wanting to disappear, that goes back to that passive ideation that I was talking about. And I've been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. Wanting to disappear, or just I want to be the fly on the wall. I don't want to be interacting. I don't want to be, dude. You just, by saying it like that, you just gave off about 3 different symptoms right there alone. So definitely think about it for a little bit. Definitely decide, hey, I'm going to get a grasp on this, and I'm going to join my brothers and sisters in addressing this stuff. So
thanks for saying that, JT. Here's something that I will say is an opportune moment. I'll address this question here. I think I'll probably butcher your name. I feel like I'm a starboard watch section leader at boot camp all over again. But Zabad, you said that you're getting med boarded and that you have a CNP coming up. I'll be honest with you. This is where I recommend having a coach. When I first got out, I didn't know how to talk about my mental health symptoms. I didn't know how to recognize what the VA was looking for, especially when it comes to things like TBI. I've been exposed to both, and I didn't know how to speak to those things when I first got out. I would recommend that you sign up with a coach, talk to your coach to get prepped for that CNP exam, because when it comes down to it at those exams, we just have to be as honest as possible and not hold back. Not be ashamed to admit that there's things that we struggle with. So I definitely recommend that you sign up with somebody to get the help that you need prior to that CNP exam.
I'd like to address something that I see here. Nancy Page. I tell you what, yes, I can understand that. And I do understand where you're coming from on that. However, you pick either one of us two, and you're going to get a warrior that's on your side that is going to take it exactly where it needs to be. Again, earlier on, we were talking about this, and it's one of those ones. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, we have plenty of female coaches that will address that. And I have no problem with that either, because it's one of those things where what makes you comfortable to get you to make that first step? Please, as a brother of the uniform, please step forward and get with somebody so we can get you through this. Okay.
That's a great point, JT. We don't care if you would prefer somebody other than us. We just want to make sure that you get the help that you deserve to obtain the benefits that you deserve. And I say that because, the benefits have been nice, but being able to get the recognition, the help for these conditions is truly what's been beneficial to me on a daily basis. So highly recommend that. And I know we've kind of called Dean's name out here a little bit, but this is something very important. Dean, you asked, what if your stressor event isn't recorded in your service history? Most veterans don't seek mental health treatment for stressors in service. Okay. And this is where I was saying, being able to, the VA is going to look for a verifiable stressor, right? So when you complete a stressor statement, you identify what it is that you were exposed to with a timeline, so that the VA can then verify that timeline where you were and that potential event occurred. And so if your stressor event wasn't recorded, don't be surprised. I'm not surprised, because it's not common. And so, this is where, as JT was saying, getting with a coach to be able to make sure that you have the proper medical evidence to submit, that your forms, that you're completing those stressor statements appropriately for the VA to be able to verify that stressor without going back and forth, it helps your claims process a lot more. So, that's again where I'd say, no matter how many times you've tried, and if they said they can't verify it, you've got to keep going. These are things that, again, if we give up, then the VA wins. And as long as we keep fighting, you'd be surprised at what could happen later on down the road if you can prove to the VA that these events did happen.
A very good point. And there's multiple ways of doing this too. By getting with a coach, you could put the puzzle pieces together. The coach will put the puzzle pieces together. See, you could be going straight up with it, but yet if we decide to change gears and actually take it secondary off of a different thing, it doesn't matter how we got there. It matters that we get there. And that's sort of like what I like saying to, like Nancy and Paige there. Your sisters are the uniform. You earned this. You signed that same dotted line that I signed. So again, reach out and we'll get you through this. And we'll get you in a situation to where you're going to be taken care of.
And with that, we only got a few minutes left. And so my closing thought here, someone posted something. Renita said it's hard to be heard while on active duty.
Right.
Renita, it can be hard to be heard when we're veterans too. This is where we have to speak up. We've got to ask for that help and be able to be that advocate for ourselves. So with that being said, what I'll say is, with VACI, if you sign up for the elite program, you do get that strategy, the education, and the medical evidence that you need to help win your claim faster and at the rating that you deserve. You get that one-on-one coaching. So you're having strategy sessions. They can help, they can get on the phone with you and walk you through that claim submission. There's the CNP prep, classes that we offer. I get on the phone and prep my clients before their CNP exams. Those live Zoom classes 3 times a day. We also offer coffee with the coaches on Monday through Friday, which to me has been better therapy than the VA doctor that I've gotten. And so coffee with the coaches is that hour Monday through Friday where we just get to come and shoot the breeze and enjoy life. I laugh more in that hour during the day than I do any other time. And so coffee with the coaches, again, those claim submissions, CNP prep classes, there's specialty classes for HLRs, sleep apnea, the high value claims. And this is where I'd say I used a VSO when I first started with my claims process. I wish I knew about VACI when I finally got to 100%. They weren't around yet, but I did find an agency like VACI to help me get my benefits. And, there's a big difference between the services that are out there that are available. And one thing that I think sets VACI apart are the amazing human beings that we have here that are willing to go above and beyond to ensure that our fellow brothers and sisters are receiving these benefits that they deserve. So, for me, if you need help, reach out to our organization at vaclaimsinsider.com because we'd love to partner with you on your VA claim journey.
Most definitely. And like I said, if you want, go ahead and contact us. You'll get a warrior that's ready to rock and roll for you. So
that is correct. There has been no greater job that I've had in my life than being able to help out other veterans obtain these benefits and just be completely shocked at what they're actually truly capable of getting at the end of the day. I mean, the best phone calls I have with veterans are the ones where they're like, I never thought this was possible, Aaron. And I have to remind people, you're the one that did it. I only coach you through this process. You're the one that goes in there and is honest about what you're dealing with. And you're the one that's going in and fighting for your benefits. I'm in the trenches with you and we're going to get you there, but you got to step up. You got to start. So go in, if you're on the fence, sign up for that free 30-minute strat call. Otherwise, go into the elite membership and get signed up for free. That way you can get linked with your coach and get started today.
Definitely. Today is definitely a good day to start. Brand new month, might as well, right?
Sure is. Now's a better time than any. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for taking their time out of their day to be here with Dr. John and I. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to serving you in the future. And again, sign up so we can get you squared away. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Be blessed.
Yes, definitely. Take care of each other.